Welcome to One Brothas Mind, and I am KD Smooth. Today we will question and challenge popular information and views from a B1 perspective, while we expose the real facts you need. We do this to strengthen your logical, critical, and discerning thinking skills. Because in today's world, hard choices are mandatory and they come with consequences. So you need all the information. And at One Brothas Mind, we do this from a B1 Yeshua the Christ followers perspective. Now, if you're not ready, you better get ready with Katie Smooth at One Brothas Mind. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again with you with another report. Family, this is going to be a very important and informative report. Also, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, turn on your notifications and set them to all alerts so that you get all the alerts when we go live or upload new content. All right, family, tonight's report, we are going to chop it up briefly here about this. Yeah. Y'all have heard them over the last few days, the reports of potential rolling blackouts, pretty much nationwide. So we're going to chop it up about this whole thing, but the angle that we're going to come at this from is, are you ready? And if not, with One Brothas Mind, it's time to get ready. So, yeah, I mean, what's going through your mind on these power outages? Let's chop it up. Let me know. Are you ready? I mean, are you ready to be in the house like this? With you and your children? No power? Candlelight? Are you ready for this? Do you have everything that you need? There may be some things that you don't have, family, that you need to work on trying to get. They're not even, they're telling everybody to expect blackouts now. They ain't even hiding the fact that, they've stolen money from us for decades and not fully reinvested into the power grids like they were legally required to, supposedly. They put all their profit in their pockets. Meanwhile, they knew full well more people are being born, more housing is being created, more businesses. I mean, they knew that the power demand, or they knew that was just going to steadily increase. Meanwhile, on purpose, they didn't put nowhere near the reinvestment money into expanding the power grids and capabilities that they were legally required to. But you ain't hearing nobody talk about this. Ain't none of them going to jail. Are they? Ain't none of them being investigated. Are they? Nope. So now they sitting back going, it's so bad, we got to shut the power off in various areas just to keep the whole system from shutting down. right? And for us to do the actual upgrades that we were supposed to be doing over the last 50, 60 years, well, we have no choice. We have to do them now because we can't keep up with demand anymore. And for us to do them now, we need to double and triple your electric bill so that we have the revenue, or y'all pay for these upgrades, not us. Do y'all see the trickeration that's going on? We've been paying our electric bill last 50, 60, 70 years. And the profits from that, a certain percentage of them, were supposed to be going toward reinvestment in the power grids and the capabilities. But they didn't do that. They put all those profits in their pocket. Now that they literally can't keep up with demand anymore because they didn't do the reinvestments and upgrades that they were legally required to do. And I say that because the power utility companies, things of that nature, especially all utility companies, they have special legal agreements with each state and the nation by way of being able to be monopolies when it comes to the utility that they provide. Okay? And as a part of that agreement, they're supposed to reinvest, upgrade, and expand capabilities of their agreement to get that special status. So there's not really any competition as far as any other utility options. But most of them ain't do that. Most of them took that profit and put it in their pockets and kept on walking. I mean, I recently just checked out a report that what's the name of that utility, the power company in California, the one that been causing all the dang forest fires. That one, whatever the name is. They've done investigations, y'all, where they got power line couplers and hooks, things that's 40, 50, 60 years old, things that are so old that the metal itself has eroded just over time. It's deteriorated and eroded over time, but these things are still in place, in use. They've done part of the forest fire investigation. They go and they found the literal power line hooks and couplers laying on the ground where the fire started. And these things are melted through. They're so old and deteriorated. All of these hooks and couplers and all that stuff was supposed to have been replaced. Like, you're supposed to replace that stuff maybe every 15, 20 years at least. They ain't replacing nothing. They putting that money in their pockets. And then today talking about, what we gonna do about it now? So we got to, it's gonna be very costly now. No, y'all gotta pay for that stuff. Y'all got the money in y'all pockets. Y'all became millionaires and billionaires off of the customers. And then y'all want to sit back and keep y'all millions coming into y'all pockets and try to make the current day customer pay all of the upgrade cost by jacking up everybody's bills. Man, hey, at some point, especially here in America, that's really all I can, personal experience speak on. Hey y'all, the pitchforks and torches, that's how citizenry used to respond to when whatever king, government, whatever ruler or leadership they had got just completely out of pocket and lying and cheating and stealing from everybody. Which is exactly what these jokers is doing. But for some reason, I've yet to see the pitchforks and the torches come back out, and the customers or citizenry pulling up on these fools at their houses, at their $1 million houses. Man, but I go more into that in a different report. I mean, golly, they stealing from us so bad, and they're charging us, the customer, for everything, including the things that they were responsible for providing and paying for years ago. So, again, family, are you ready to be sitting in the house like this? You get a little text message or something come across the TV or whatever. All right, we're about to shut your power off. Click. And you have no idea how long it's going to be off. Oh, we only expect a few hours, but really, they can expect all they want. They only got to turn your power on until they get ready. Ain't that about nothing? Are y'all ready for that? Are you prepared? I mean, for real. Do you have everything you need? When there's no power, there's no security alarms nowhere. It's dark everywhere. Y'all ready for that? You ready to come out on your block and see stuff like this? That's on your screen, your whole block cold, pitch black. Ladies, you gonna be coming out the house going for a jog with the block this dark? In fact, you ain't even gotta come out the house. You can sit there in your house. Do you think you really still feel safe with no power on, no alarms, no? As Houdini once said, they said the freaks, I'm saying the fools, come out at night. So as soon as they shut the power off in these rolling blackouts or whatever the cause is for power outages, they coming out there, y'all. Are you prepared to be able to protect yourself and your family when the block is this dark? Y'all playing games, man. Y'all better man, y'all better get it together. Come up with some plans. And again, ladies, especially sisters, most of y'all single parents, do y'all got y'all power tools with you? Remember. So, I mean, what are you gonna do when it's just black outside? I know. Some of y'all saying, well, I'm ready. I got a few things. I got a generator and all that. We're gonna dig into that. I mean, look at what's on your screen. You probably ain't gonna be able to see this too well on your cell phone. And you have to watch this on a bigger screen, but this image For those that can't see, it's an entire neighborhood is blacked out. And the house, one house right in the middle got all the lights on. This is going to happen, y'all. That family that live in the house, they got a generator. But here's the next question. If you in your whole neighborhood and you the only house with lights on, is that safe? Think about it. Are you safe showing that you actually do have electricity, whether you got a gas generator, solar generator? Are you safe displaying that? Darren and Karen live down the street. They ain't got no power. You know, if it's been an extended power outage, their food might not be any more good. It may have all spoiled by now without having no power. What's the closest location where they can potentially go get some food? Yeah, your house with all the lights on. Are you ready for that? Have you thought that through? You may have some lights, but don't you need to be like, at least have you some like blackout curtains and duct tape? And cover all your windows in your house so no light is showing outside of your house, you know, so that no one outside can tell whether or not you have power or not. That's a extra little helpful nugget there. There's specific curtains, for those that don't know, that are called blackout curtains. They're thicker. They block light. You make sure you got those on all the windows of your house and some duct tape to run down the sides. And you could easily black out all the light that's shining from within your house. Right? Because again, if you're like in this picture, you're the only house in the neighborhood that's got power, you the target. You got a big bullseye on your house. You know what I mean? Here you done all your prepping and got all your stuff ready to go, and you doing good in an extended blackout or a disaster. The longer it goes, the more you become the target. At least that is if the neighborhood can see that you got power and got, you know, things that you need. Yeah, family. So I just wanted to chop it up with y'all real quick. Run through a list of things. You know, there's things that, you know, most of us already know we should have, but there's always things that we forget, or more things that we didn't think about that you need to consider to try to have an option for or a solution for in these situations. And in this situation here with these rolling blackouts, we're going to focus on just what's called the bug in situation, where you're going to hanker down in your house. You're going to stay at home and try to ride it out. That's the option that we're going to focus on today, because there's other options, but we're going to focus on, okay, you trying to prep to be able to stay at home, hold it down, and be okay, you and your family, until the power come back on, or whatever the disaster is all over with. Okay? So let's dig in here. Remember, again, ladies and gentlemen, to please like, share, and subscribe, because One Brothas Mind is here to give you the information and facts you need. Let's go. All right. So here, I put together a little chart with a good list of items. It's a good starting point. First question is, do you have all these items? If you don't, you need to seriously be working on getting them. Okay? And those that, if you're on your cell phones or whatever, or a small screen, you may not be able to see all these. Just take a quick snapshot of this image, and then you can blow it up. Stretch it, blow it up, and you'll be able to see everything. Or watch the replay of this on your on a larger screen when you get home or what have you, so you can really see everything that's on this list. But it's an easy way. It's a good list to have, and just use it. That's what I put this list together for you to be able to use as kind of a checklist. Okay, family? All right, so we're going to dig in. As you see, I got the items kind of sorted in different categories. The first category we're going to talk about is power. If they're talking about rolling blackouts, the no power situation, whether it's a blackout or any other kind of disaster, is a short list of things you need to try to make sure that you have. Let's go through them real quick. Batteries. You have pretty much all sizes of batteries at home, around your house, and a good amount of them. Okay? Most of us already know and keep a good variety of candles, but a lot of us, you need to go get some more candles. Okay? Go get some more candles. Keep them around the house, somewhere where you remember where they are. I know one time I had some candles. It took me forever to find my candles. They'd been sitting around in the cabinet so long, I had forgot. Make sure you know where your candles are and go get plenty more so you have plenty. Here's the thing. Do you have a good flashlight, family? A good flashlight, whether it's battery operated or solar powered or both. They have flashlights now that operate by battery and solar. That would be Katie Smooth's recommendation. So if you don't have batteries or you run out of batteries, you still can charge your flashlight with the sun and still have power on your flashlight that will hopefully last you. Same thing with just lanterns, the old school lanterns. They got all kinds of lanterns right now, different ones that use the old school, kerosene, propane, oil, whatever. But when you're dealing with a lantern or flashlights, things of this nature that use some kind of energy source or fuel, whatever that is, you have to keep in mind that's limited. The only thing that's not limited is solar. Okay? So whatever kind of lantern you have or are looking at, the best option would be get a solar powered one. Okay? They also, as far as a lot of these solar power items and have power to charge your various different small electronics, they have literally just battery packs themselves that are solar powered. So you can charge the battery pack up with the sun and then use that electricity for outage. You're only going to have the gas that you have. After you use it, you're out of gas. Because the gas stations, they don't got no power either. So those pumps ain't going to work. So you ain't going to be able to get, most likely, any more gas. Right? That's why here at One Brothas Mind, we recommend solar powered generators. Now, yes, they're significantly more expensive most of the time. But you have the ability, if you have solar power generators, you have the ability to generate more power and electricity every day when the sun comes out. So you have far less limitations when it comes to power if you're dealing with solar generators, right? Even if you gotta only have, you can only afford to get some of the smaller ones, something is better than nothing. I know myself, I'm sitting here, I'm on the fence. I'm working toward my solar generator option, but I'm on the fence of, do I hurry up and get something now that will be smaller, or do I keep stacking chips so I can get the big dogs generators, solar generators that I want? What do you do, right? But you gotta have something, because they are literally telling us they ain't there every day. Somebody's talking about rolling blackouts. They coming, y'all. Here's a couple more items that you may not have thought about as far as power. You're dealing with candles and other light sources. Y'all remember the old little party or skating ring glow sticks? You can actually use those. Them things last for like 8, 10, 12 hours. Okay? And they'll provide good light in a room for that period of time. Right? The glow sticks that you just gotta kind of break them, snap them in half almost, shake them up. Here's another thing. For those that have gas generators, have you considered storing some gas? Have you researched about how to store gas? Because you can't just get no several big gas tanks or little, gas buckets and fill them up with gas and just set them in your garage forever. That's not how that works. Do y'all know how long gas will sit good for and remain good for use? Here's a hint. It's 6 months, y'all. So you can go spend a bunch of money, especially now with gas being as high as it is, and that gas can sit in your garage or whatever. If you go past that 6 month mark, it loses most of its potency and usefulness. Did you know that? Which is why here at One Brothas Mind, we recommend that if you're going to do gas storage, 1, do your research. And then 2, you have or start you a gas storage rotation. So say if you got 3 so many gallons worth of gas tanks in your garage, as you fill up your car, when your gas tank in your car gets low, don't go to the gas station and just put more gas in your car. No. Take your storage, if you got 10-gallon tanks, 15-gallon tanks of gas, whatever, take those and fill your car up with. Then go to the gas station and refill your tanks with fresh gas. Got to do a rotation to keep the gas that you have stored fresh. Right? Here's another one. With no power, you may be in a situation where you need to figure out a way to cook some food, or heat your home, or heat a room, and different things like that, especially cooking. You may say, well, I got a grill. I'll just grill out every day or whatever. Okay, you got a grill. Is it a charcoal or propane? What's your fuel for your grill? Both of those are limited, y'all. For example, with charcoal, you may have some charcoal in your garage or whatever, but how long is the power going to be out? How many cooks you going to have to do with no power on your grill? You got that much charcoal? Here's an extra nugget. If that's the option that you're looking at, get you some firewood, get you some wood chunks. Stack up some wood in stores and keep it dry. So when you light your charcoal fire, you can just use a little bit of charcoal, but then set you some wood slats on top of your charcoal, and the charcoal will actually light and set your wood on fire, then you are burning wood instead of charcoal more so. Wood is pretty much unlimited. You can get that. You can find some wood. Let's just say that. You can't just find some charcoal. You gotta go to the store for that. But wood, you can find some wood. You know how you find some wood? Ladies, do you have an axe? I know most of y'all ladies ain't got no axe. I already know that. So if you don't have an axe, guess what you can't find? Wood. Ladies, get you an axe. You ain't got to get the big old long Tom Sawyer axe or whatever. They got ones that are about half the size that are a little bit easier for you to handle. They even got ones that are about a quarter the size, the little hand hacksaw, or not hacksaws, but a little hand axe. Something to do some chopping with. So you can go find you some wood if you need to. Okay? Make sure you got a good amount of matches or lighters available at your home. So you got the ability to even light a fire without too much trouble. Okay? I mean, we just in the power, y'all. I ain't even went through the rest of them yet. We gonna get to it. And so let's say you got you a charcoal grill. That's okay. You get you some wood, some charcoal. You got some lighter. You can start a fire. Now, okay, you gonna cook on your grill, okay? Or do you have like a propane grill? A lot of people have propane grills. You can't light a fire or just a raw fire, real easy on a propane grill. You need to have you some backup propane tanks. Do you know how long the propane tanks last and are good for before they start leaking and stuff like that? Do your research. Because it ain't going to be the power is out. Let me go to the store real quick and grab some propane. No, it's not going to work like that, y'all. Whatever you need to have it before they turn the power off. Here's another extra little tip. They have, for those that say you ain't got a big grill to try to cook on and use, and say you got an electric stove at home, so when the power goes out, you ain't gonna be able to use your stove. They have little small portable propane stoves and camping propane burners and stoves. You need to do some research into those. They got some on Amazon that's like it's basically a little small hot plate, but it works off of propane. And you get a little, almost like I want to say like a deodorant can style, full of propane, or they even fit the regular propane canisters. And you just screw them on to the side of that propane stove, and you can turn the burner on and cook whatever you need to cook right there. I think I seen one on Amazon for like $20. All you need to do is if you get something like that, if that's your plan, just get you plenty of backup cans, the fuel cans. You'll be able to cook. You have to have some kind of option, because if you don't, you're in trouble. All right. So let's move on to the water. And this list is not everything, family. This is just something to get you started. Okay? Of stuff that you need to try to have or have a solution for. Water. What happens with water when the power goes out? Well, first thing, everybody, you should have a certain amount of water, some kind of water storage already at your house. Whether it's nothing but several of the big packs of bottled water, or you got some kind of like gallon jugs, you buy water in gallon jugs or something. You gotta have some kind of water backed up. Okay? And according to the government, you need to have 1 gallon per water. Let me say that again. You need to have 1 gallon of water per person per day as the minimum. And that's water to drink, for cleanliness, to try to meet the immediate needs that you have. 1 gallon per person per water. So if you have a family of 3, you need to have 3 gallons of water, or y'all gonna probably use 3 gallons of water per day. So you need at least 9 gallons of water. If you're a family of 3, you got enough water to get you through 3 days. Okay? But really, you need way more than that, family. Okay? Because if the power goes down, what if the water filtration system for your city, for your area, they ain't got no power. They can't filter the city water anymore, right? So you need to have, do you have your own water filtration system at your home? Or even a portable water filtration system, like a Berkey water filtration system? If you don't, you might be in trouble. Because when they shut the power off, like I said, they got no power to run the city's water filtration systems. So it ain't gonna be long. At the very least, they're gonna tell everybody, stop drinking the water. Can't drink the water no more, because it's no longer filtered and treated. Right? But if you got your own water filtration system, even if it's just a portable one, like a Berkey water filter, for those that don't know, they got some big boys that'll do a couple gallons, 2 or 3 gallons of water at a time. You better do your research. Okay? Here's another little nugget tip as far as water. If the power goes out, you don't know, you have no idea how long it's going to be out, right? Right. One of the first things you must do whether a rolling blackout or whatever the cause of the power going out, go through your house, make sure all your sinks and your bathtubs are clean thoroughly, which they already should be clean, but as long as they're fully clean, put the drain stoppers in them and fill every sink, every bathtub up with water immediately. Okay? Your bathtub's gonna hold probably 100 gallons of water by itself. That's a lot of water that you could have to be able to use and drink. Okay? For you and your family. Fill up all your sinks. Look for any large storage containers or gallon jugs that you have that are clean. Fill them up with water. Fill everything up with water that's clean that you can. Because you're creating water storage at the last minute. That's what you're doing when you do that. Number one. Number two, like I said, it's not going to be long during a power outage. They're going to send out the notice, say, okay, stop, you can't drink the water no more. So if you've already filled your sinks and your tubs and everything you can with water, you got some water to last you and your family for a period of time. Okay? Don't forget that. And you might say, well, I thought you said they said you can't use the water. Well, here's a little secret. At your home, if they announce that you got to stop using the water, well, the water that's at your home, physically in your water tank, as well as, for the water that's in your pipes that lead to your home for a certain distance, that water is still good and has been recently treated. So you actually can go ahead and use that water and, like I said, fill your tubs and your sinks and whatever else you can fill up. Capture all of that water that's basically at your house. And then turn the water off. You can't let it run forever, because after a certain amount of water comes out, you're going to start getting into the water that has not been treated. You don't want that water. You want to just collect the water that's at your house and in your immediate pipes. Okay? So make sure you remember that, family. We're gonna ride. I'm gonna touch on all these if I can here real quick, because we got to get our stuff together. We got to make sure we're ready. Here's another good one. Speaking of still on water, how about doing your research and investing, if you have the space, in some large water storage tanks? A lot of people have done it and are doing it. You can get these big, large, like 55-gallon plastic tanks that you can fill up with water. Okay? And water lasts, do your research, I want to say about 6 months or so. Okay? It's just water, right? And if you're going to use that approach, of course, you got to put the date on each tank that you fill up, so you know when you did it, so you can gauge how old the water is before it needs to be replaced. But if you do that, which is a great option, you also need to have some kind of system, some type of, whether it's a battery operated or solar operated or manually operated, some type of extracting pump system where you can pump the water out. Don't put a whole bunch of water in these big old tanks and you ain't got no kind of pump, or your pump is electric and then they shut the power off. Now you ain't got no way to pump the water out your tanks for you to use. Battery, solar, or the best option in that case would be manual. A manual pump system where you can put a tube in your tank and just pump it yourself and get the water that you need, right? Then, family, you sitting around with your phone in your hand all day, you on TikTok. Y'all supposed to have researched all this stuff by now. What you doing? You're supposed to already know this stuff and already have plans and be doing this stuff. Whatever is going to fit you and your situation the best. Here's one that most of y'all ain't even thinking about. Do you got a portable toilet at your house? Yeah. Because who knows? During a power outage, the water systems may stop working and whatnot. You may need to switch to using a portable toilet, right? Or even better yet, say you don't want to use your water that you have stored for drinking and cooking and stuff. You don't want to use that to keep flushing your toilet, because that's a lot of wasted water, right? But if you got a portable toilet, you ain't got to use that water to flush your waste, right? You can put a bag in and, your portable toilet, and then just tie the bag up and take your waste outside. But wait, there's more to that. You can't just put that waste anywhere. You got to know how to handle that waste. Do your research. The safest option for handling your waste in that situation, there's ways and certain methods of literally like digging a waste trench. It's got to be so far deep and so far wide or whatever. There's ways to handle it, and it's environmentally safe and be safe for you and your family. But you got to do your research and learn that. Okay? And then the other reason why you need to have a portable toilet option in your home is because when the power's out and stuff's all jacked up, and you don't want to waste water trying to flush a bunch of times throughout the day for your family, you also don't want to have to go outside somewhere, find a bush or a tree trying to go to the bathroom behind. Right? Especially if it's really hot or really cold outside. It could be 0 degrees outside. You don't want to have to go outside to try to go to the bathroom and it's 0 degrees outside. What? Or it's crazy hot. It's 100 degrees outside and you out there trying to find a bush or a tree somewhere trying to hide. Out there sweating. Come on, y'all. All right, family. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. KD Smooth is going in on this one, y'all. I'm just trying to be helpful. Trying to make sure, I don't believe, I'd say probably 98% of black people do not have everything on this list already. So you may say, I got all that covered so far. Keep listening, because I'm going to hit some things that I'm sure you ain't got. So stay with me. All right, let's move on to food. It goes without saying, you're supposed to have your food storage going and built up and, all kind of food and canned goods and things. You're supposed to already have been building it up. And if you ain't started, you better get started yesterday. Okay? But as far as food, it's like, here's the question. How you going to cook that food? We talked about, using your grill, whether it's a charcoal or propane and wood. Propane, I should say. Different options there. But if you cooking outdoors, the best thing to cook in is cast iron cookware. Cast iron skillets, cast iron pots. Because you can literally set them on the fire. If you literally got a fire, charcoal and wood going, you can set a cast iron skillet right on the flames and you cook. You can cook in it. If it comes to that. You can build a fire on the ground, on the cement somewhere, and put a cast iron pot right on top of it. It's going to cook just fine. Okay? Do you have cast iron? Do you have a cast iron set? Because all them other little non-stick dooja-mahickeys you got, they not going to hold up when you putting them over real fire. Most of them ain't going to hold up. Okay? We've already talked about the portable stove options that are out there. Here's another thing. Let's say you do have your food storage built up. You got dry food, you got deep freezers, you got all that. When the power goes out, guess what? If you ain't got no kind of generators to keep your freezers going and your refrigerator going, your food gonna go back, all gonna spoil within a couple of days. You can have a whole gang amount of food, but it's all gonna spoil within a couple of days if you ain't got no kind of backup power option, which is another reason why it's important to make some kind of decision to have some kind of generator, even if it's just gas. Having that is better than having nothing. You gotta have some kind of way to be able to generate some power. So if you got a deep freezer or freezers, you got to be able to power those, or you're going to lose all that food. Then what? Now, as far as powering deep freezers, especially with solar generators, here's an extra little nugget right from KD Smooth. You may be thinking, okay, I got a solar generator to run this deep freezer, so it should be cool. Okay. But remember, you don't have to have that deep freezer plugged into that solar generator using power 24 hours a day. You can plug that deep freezer in, run it for 2 hours, and then unplug it. Let it stay unplugged for 2, 3, 4 hours. It'll be fine. Then plug it back in and let it run for another couple of hours on basically a power cycling option. Especially if you only got 1 or 2 small power generators. That way, you're literally not using up all of your solar power energy or power that you have. But at the same time, you're keeping your food frozen and not going bad on you. Right? You can power cycle your deep freezers and refrigerators. Okay? I mean, technically, most deep freezers and refrigerators, most current ones, they kind of do that themselves today, where that compressor kicks on and kicks off for those that know, things of that nature. But still, you can manually power cycle them and save even more power. Significantly more power. Okay? The only risk with doing that, family, is can your deep freezer and its compressor withstand being manually powered cycled? And what I mean by that is if you're you got your deep freezer plugged into your solar generator, and you let it run for 2 hours, and you manually unplug that deep freezer, you must know you can't just plug that deep freezer back up an hour later, because you have to let your deep freezer's compressor fully reset itself. And that usually takes about 3 to 4 hours, most likely right about 4 hours. Okay? That's usually the recommendation. If you defrost or do anything with your deep freezer, let it stay off for like about 4 hours for your compressor to fully reset itself. Then apply power or plug it back in again. But in an emergency situation, if you're power cycling like that, it's running, plugged in for 2 hours, you unplug it for 4 hours, then plug it back in and run it for 2 more hours, etc., etc. There is a risk of whether or not your compressor, your deep freezer can handle that type of power cycle. Some of them can, some of them won't. So you have to keep that in mind also, family. So again, you're trying to keep your food from going bad on you. Because when it goes bad, it's gone. Gotta get rid of it. Then what you gonna eat? Okay. And the question to then what you're gonna eat is, what kind of dry and canned food do you have in your food storage? Okay. How many, what kind of canned food that you have that's just like a whole meal in a can, or dry pouches of meals or whatever, There's meals that are out that are all a dry meal in a bag. It's a whole meal by itself, like a hamburger helper or a chili mac or whatever. It's dry though, and it's in a bag. And all you gotta do is add boiling water to it. A certain amount of boiling water, stir it up. Now you got the whole meal ready to eat. Okay? There's stuff like that. That's everywhere. Then you got your regular canned goods and dry foods that you get at your grocery store. How many of y'all got those things stored up around the house? And if you do, have you gone around your house and said, okay, I got all of the things, my food storage together, but how many things in my food storage are actually quick meals? Things that, like a cans of soup or some kind or whatnot, that all I got to do is just heat them up and eat. Heat and eat. So how many of those type of meals and food and meals that I don't have to heat up, that I can just eat, do I have? Okay. I know I did. I went and walked around my house and my food storage here recently. I ended up counting about 10 different options of things that I had that I can just eat and eat, or stuff that I can open the can and eat it, maybe do a little prep to it and eat it right out the can. Like, for example, like tuna fish. I have tuna cans in my food storage prep. I can open that up in a jar of mayonnaise or Miracle Whip. I'm a Miracle Whip person myself. Mix that stuff up, stir it up real quick. Bang, I got tuna sandwiches. 3 minutes. Bow. It's ready to go. But don't forget, you got to have your old school can openers, y'all. Don't make that mistake. I know you hate the old school can openers, but you need to have one for a reason. Have more than one. Ones that actually work. Not some of the newer ones with the little plastic bigger handles on. They don't work so good. The old school ones that hurt your fingers, damn, they always work. Make sure you got them. Okay. But during a power outage, those ready to eat meals or heat and eat meal type options, they're going to be your friend. Because it's going to be a lot harder, unless you're really prepared, to actually cook some meals during a power outage. Okay? And speaking of cooking some meals as well, do you know whether or not, or you should know, do you have a gas or an electric stove at your home? You gotta confirm all this stuff, family. If you got a lot of people got electric stoves, so when the power goes out, they're definitely not going to be able to use their regular stove to cook on. But those of us with gas stoves, we still should be able to use our stoves. You just turn the gas on and light the fire. So you still will be able to cook on your regular stove. That's a big help. That's a big help if your power's out. I got a hybrid type kind of stove. It's gas, but it uses the electric igniters and all that type of stuff. So I'm going to have to do a test. Unplug my stove and see if I can just use a regular match or lighter that I got in my hand, turn my stove on and make sure it's still light without those little igniters. The little tick, 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 those, I believe I'll be cool, but I ain't gonna just stay. I'm gonna test it, make sure. Okay. Will your oven work? If you got a gas stove, make sure your oven will still work when there's no power. Unplug that joker. Turn the oven on. Light your pilot. Is it still going to work? Are you still going to be able to cook in the oven? You got to confirm these things, family. Also, let's move over to the security options. Let's get into that. Do you got your power tools? That's another reason, big reason why, family, you got to have your power tools. I mean, there's a lot of people here in America talking about they don't believe in having power tools and firearms and whatnot. Okay, y'all go ahead. Get in where you fit in. Because when the blackouts go down, you gonna wish you had your power tools with you. Okay? If you got your power tools, do you got plenty of ammo? Do you got other weapon options? Do you got knives? There's little, you could literally have a bow and arrow. You can have, big knives, big machetes. There's all kind of weapon options, y'all. You need to have an assortment. Okay? Do you got a good first aid kit? Do you even know where it is? If you know where it is full of first aid stuff that you need. Huh? Yeah. Now let's expand on that. Do you have, a lot of us family, especially in the black community, y'all know, do you have your meds that whoever in your family is relying on and taking on a daily basis? Do you have those? And if so, how much of them do you have? Do you only have 30 days worth? For those that don't know, here's a tip. A lot of times, a lot of the various insurers that you have, they'll actually pay for and authorize for you to have not a 90-day supply of whatever meds that you have and are using. So if you don't already have that set up, that's something you need to look in to try to get on lock. So you got at least 90 days worth of med supplies if and when the power goes out. And really, you need more than that, because if it's a chronic illness and you can always be taking meds for that, okay, say you got 90 days, then what? You ain't gonna make it, right? So you need to try to first get to 90 days if your insurance will allow, and then start to try to work on building even more, even if you got to pay out of pocket. So you got even more of your meds to last you even longer. So you got more of a chance to make it until things get better. Okay? But then all your regular standard meds that you take that would go with kind of like first aid or little sicknesses, cold medicines, whatever you normally take, things for infection, Neosporin, aspirin, ibuprofen, go down the list. Do you already got all that stuff? And do you have plenty of backup of those things? What about for an upset stomach? Just everything that you deal with or could deal with, you need to have some med supplies for. Because when the lights go out, you ain't gonna be able to just go to the Walmart, Wally World, and just go get some more. And even if you can, you don't really want to be out there like that with no power. Because, as I said before, the fools come out at night. Okay? That's a hell of a risk to be having to go out to try to get something that you need. You got a child that done came down with a cough or something, and now you out here trying to go. That ain't what you want, family. That is not what you want. Okay. All right. Let's move on down the list. As far as security, do you have or have you put together a family defense plan? Have you set everybody in your family, in your household down and y'all work together, put together an actual defense plan on how to defend your home? Like I said, if this is you in the neighborhood, the only one with power on your screen, you got to be able to defend yourself because they coming. Karen, Darren, Pookie and them, they coming. They going to test you. Do you have a plan to defend your home and your family? They're coming. Okay? Also, during power outages, cash is king, man. Do you got cash in your home? Or let's say cash available. Let's just say that. I don't care where you got it, but is it with you and available? Some of y'all might say, yeah, I got it. I'm cool. Okay. But how about, if you have it, do you have a lot of small bills? You say, why? Because during a blackout, ain't nobody going to be able to just hit some buttons and give you the correct change like that. You need to have a good amount of variety of small bills so you can pay nearly exactly what you need to pay for stuff if you need to pay for something. Okay? And also, family, I already touched on this as well, is if you got generators or some kind and you got your power or backup power options running, like I said, curtains, black out your windows. You need to keep your lighting that's indoors, keep it as non-visible from outside as you possibly can, right? Because if it's visible, that means to people who don't have power, you got something. You're prepared. So you probably got a bunch of other stuff too that they need. They're coming. Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Again, family. Share this. Share this broadcast, family. We going in. And if you don't need all this, I guarantee you know somebody that does. They're not ready. They're not prepared. And this stuff is coming sooner rather than later. Okay? Let's go on to if there's no power, that means there's no air conditioning and no heat. Oh boy. I remember I heard somebody having a broadcast or a podcast one where they was asking people which would they rather not have. No air conditioning, no heat, or no food. Man, I was dying laughing. Everybody had their different preferences, but hey, I ain't trying to not have. I want to have everything. I don't want to. That's not where you want to be, right? So let's say if there's no power during the summertime, it's 100 degrees outside. What you gonna do? Okay, first thing most of y'all saying, well, I'll just go out in my car and we'll sit in the car and drive around or whatever and run the car and get the air from the car. Okay. Did y'all remember how high gas prices are right now? You ain't gonna be able to sit in the car driving around with these $5, $7, $8, $10 a gallon gas prices for long. Okay? So then what's your plan after them 5 minutes in the car? What you gonna do? You need to have a way to be aware or find out where there's available cooling stations or locations at, There's going to be some places they have backup generators and whatnot, whether it be schools or Walmarts or all kind of places, churches around, and you'll be able to go in there and at least be in the air conditioning. You know, if you do nothing but go there to the locations and stay in those locations most of the day while it's hot, and then try to come home, when it's cooling off, and chill at home overnight, something, right? Yeah, you can always take extra showers throughout the day if you trying to sweat it out in the house. Take a shower about once an hour, as long as the water is running, right? Cold showers. There's always the old school shade tree. Get you a glass of ice water. Well, ain't really gonna be no ice with no power, but get you some glass of the coldest water you can find and get under that shade tree. Right? Well, then let's look at what if it's no heat? It's in the wintertime. It's cold. What you gonna do then? Have you researched and looked into alternate heating options? Do you have a fireplace in your home or a wood stove in your home? If you got one of those, you're already ahead of the game. You're ahead of the game if you got one of those, but most people don't have fireplaces or wooden stoves in their homes right now. And even if you do have a fireplace, when the last time you had it serviced and cleaned out? Because you don't want to be sitting there and then the power go out. You ain't ever used your fireplace. It's just been decoration. And then you go and try to light a fire, that joker, woof, you're going to get smoked out, choked out right inside your own house. If the flute is clogged, you better have that joker service and keep it serviced. Test that joker every so often. Right? But if you don't have one of those, how you gonna provide yourself some heat? You cannot, family, you cannot set a fire of any kind inside your house in any way other than a fireplace or a wood stove. Some of y'all heard it. There were people, it was struggling so bad, it was so cold during that Texas storm not too long ago. They were panicking. They were setting fires inside of their house, trying to stay warm. And some of them burnt themselves or their house down. Don't do that, family. Don't put yourself in that position. If you got power generators, whether electric or solar, at least you can have say one good little electric heater. You can put that heater in one room, plug it up, turn it on, and then kind of seal that room. Kerosene, propane, whatever. All of those fuel sources are limited. Which is why if you're able to get solar powered generators. If nothing else, get some small ones. But if you can afford, get the bigger ones. Right? Because that's power, that's electricity that you can provide over and over again all day long. Okay? So right now, family, we're going to take a quick non-commercial break, and we'll be right back with you in just a moment. Okay, family. We're going to continue. We're going to keep this train going. You definitely need to do some extensive research into backup or alternate heat options. Okay? Don't find yourself in the position where a lot of the people that unfortunately went through that Texas storm found themselves in. Okay? Also, as far as another quick one on the no air conditioning option, if you got your own generators, whatever kind, gas or solar, at least that's something. You may not be able to run your whole air conditioning system for your whole house, but you can run a couple of little regular old school window fans, right? They don't use nowhere near the amount of power that your whole air conditioning system for your house uses. You can run some fans. Do you got some little box fans, little window fans around your house? Keep some, right? And then on that same note, just like with a small one-room heater, electric heater, you can actually go purchase a small portable electric air conditioning unit as well. They got them at the hardware store. They'll keep one room in your house reasonably cool and comfortable. Like I said, you have to seal off the rest of the house and keep all the little cold air that it's putting out trapped in the one room where you and your family is locked into. But you can survive with in that way, and you only using your power from your generators. Okay. So let's move forward. Let's go into the whole issue of communications. Do you have a battery powered or even a solar powered or even a wind up old school AM FM radio? You're going to need that because in power outages, oftentimes radio is one of the only remaining communication avenues that's available. You can have that radio running and go through the stations and get updates on reports and information that you really desperately need. Right? One Brothas Mind here, we recommend a wind up radio. You know, they even have solar power ones. I got one that's wind up and solar. So I can just set that joker in the window seal, and it'll fill its battery up, and then I can use it. And then if it's dark, I can't get no more solar power, I can just pop the wind up wheel open and just sit there and spin it. And it over time, just let everybody in the family take their turns spinning that wind up wheel. It'll build up power, and then you can use it and listen to what's going on for a while. Right? Do you have extra car chargers? Most of y'all don't. I already know. Your car charger, the little plug-in piece is all halfway broke off right now already. And you've been putting off. I know I need to get another one. I'll get one next time I stop at the gas station or whatever. And you always walk out of there and you ain't got it. You know, you need to have a collection of charge cables, brand new ones that you ain't even using, all right, planning to use. Have them around the house with the little power cubes and everything. That way, in a power outage situation, even if you're going to at least you get power from your car for a short period of time, or AC, while you're driving in your car, enjoying the air, you can have your charge cables and your phones and tablets and stuff like that plugged up. They can all be charging. Right? Same thing with most generator systems, especially solar generators. They have little USB ports just specifically for charging devices. So you need to have your charge cables, have a good amount of them backed up, right? More towards communication. Do you have, how many of y'all have your ham radio license? Some of y'all don't even know what that is. For those that don't, ham radio is an old school communication system and option that's been in use since what, dang near World War II, World War One. Ham radios. Look it up. I don't know what year that came in, but it's a old school communication option that will be being used and is used today still during disasters and emergencies. You can tap in and listen to the emergency broadcasts and your emergency services, your police, fire, ambulance, whatever. They'll be. You can hear them talking back and forth with your ham radios. But to have a ham radio, you gotta actually take a class and get trained on how to properly use it. Because it ain't just anybody turn on a ham radio going, breaker, breaker, hey, this is Pookie. Can somebody bring me some water? No, it don't work that way. There's certain protocols and certain ways to use it and ways to communicate. You get a tag number, all those types of things that you have to follow if you're using ham radio. Okay? And you got to get trained on knowing how to use all that stuff properly. Now, you're thinking, well, I got my cell phone. I got my cell phone. Well, oftentimes during power outages, the cell phones and self-service ain't working. Y'all do know that, right? And for you young listeners, here's a bit of a historical / experience nugget. During or just after Hurricane Katrina, I'll drop this one on you. After the hurricane and Katrina had already passed through New Orleans, it was gone. The sun was out, right? The cell phones and cell towers were still working, but only catered to everything. And the radio station was letting them know, okay, we're going to try to get some help directed your way. We're going to contact emergency services. That went on for the first few hours after the storm went through. And then all of a sudden, bam, no more cell phone service was working. I literally heard this with my own ears, y'all. But the New Orleans government, law enforcement, all them people, they put out a lie saying that the storm knocked the cell phone service out, knocked the cell towers out. It was a bold-faced lie, y'all. They cut them service lines. They cut the cell service off themselves on purpose. No, some of y'all sitting there going, what? You tripping. Why would they do that? I'm going to tell you. Because most city managers and emergency service personnel, they are trained that it is best to only have one primary governmental information or just one information source available to the masses of people. Why? Because if there's only one information source available, then whatever you say as the government or so-called authorities on that information source, That's what most of the people are going to do and follow. But if people have multiple communication and information sources available, a lot of people are not going to do or follow the information that you, the authorities, or government provide. That's why. So they cut that cell service out to force more people to do what the authorities in New Orleans after Katrina was telling people to do, which was, if you can, make your way to the New Orleans Superdome or the Convention Center. And most of y'all already know the nightmare that happened after that for the people that actually did that. That was the worst thing you could possibly do. For those y'all that are young folks that are listening, go look it up. And not the stuff that's on, most of the stuff that's on YouTube ain't gonna explain it to you. You got to look up some older documentaries and what have you, like the older When the Levees Broke documentary by Spike Lee, and you'll get a little bit of explanation as to what happened at the Superdome and the Convention Center. Look up some of the other documentaries. You'll see. People died at the Convention Center and at the Superdome. There were rapes, murders, you name it. Everything happened. Because they packed all them thousands of people into them locations. They did not have enough food, nor did they provide enough food and water. But they packed all these people telling them this is where they were supposed to go to get help. I'm going to get off my soapbox, y'all, because I can go down that rabbit hole. That's a long rabbit hole. But anyway, if you got cell phones, your cell phone ain't always going to work. Whether it's not working because of whatever disaster happened, or whether it's turned off on purpose. Okay? Cell service. But then, even in the event that you check your cell phone during a power outage or what have you, and it's not working, you don't have cell service, always make sure you attempt to send text messages. Because oftentimes, the text message or SMS messaging system actually still works, even though you don't have cell service. Don't forget that nugget, family. So always check, send a couple of text messages out and see if you get replies. Because you may be able to continue to use text messaging even when your cell service is not working. Okay? Another communication option. There's a such thing called long-range walkie-talkies. Family. Some of them will go 50, 60 miles away from where you are. So in that case, you would need your cell phone or whatever. You got your own personal communication network, especially if you link up and make a plan for communication with various family and friends. Y'all all invest in a certain type or brand of long-range walkie-talkies. Y'all can create your own network within about a 50-mile or so range. That's an extremely helpful option, where you ain't just stuck with the information that you have. You can communicate with your walkie-talkie network amongst friends and family, and y'all can share information, provide, other answers to questions and things, situations that each of you are facing. That's extremely helpful. But here's the problem. That requires black people getting together. Coming together to do something. Most black people can't get together to go out to dinner. Let alone, create some sort of cooperative communication network. Soon as you say we're gonna do that, everybody say, yeah, that's a good idea. He's like, okay, we're gonna buy these walkie-talkies. Oh man, what about? I don't know about them. Why don't we get these other little $10 walkie-talkies? Cause they not gonna work, man. Well, I don't know about them. Them walkie-talkies you talking about are too expensive. Why can't we get this one? These on sale. Everybody gonna come up with, man. You know how we do. It's very hard. Most of us have lived our entire lifetimes. And we don't have 5 real friends. For real friends that we could do something like that with. That are reliable and dependable. And are, preparing or prepping themselves as well and their families. Yeah, you can Pookie will get a walkie-talkie. He ain't got no preps. He just want a walkie-talkie so he can ask you if you got some sugar and ask this one if they got some water. And that's all Pookie want a walkie-talkie for. He just using it to try to get help. Pookie ain't provide no information other than we on the way. We about to pull up. No. And that goes for siblings too. Most of us got siblings, man. It's the same situation. A lot of them ain't taking none of this stuff, what's going on, serious. They're not prepping. They're not storing stuff. They're not growing their own foods. They're not doing nothing. And trust me, as soon as things get really bad for them, you the first person they gonna call. Are you gonna answer? Yeah. So and then there's even the other element. You may have friends or siblings, they're prepping as well, but I don't know what to fully really call it in the black community. Like I said, we can't come together on nothing. So we got this thing. You can have friends and family. They're also doing a lot of preps and things on their own, getting ready. But just the idea of doing one thing, like say the long range walkie-talkie situation in your city, in your area, just doing that one little thing. You can say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is the type of information we're going to provide and communicate over this. Just to try to make sure everybody's all right. And if one family in this network runs into some extra difficulty, the rest of us can try to provide additional solutions and options and information. That's what it's for. It's more information. You still going to have some of your friends, some of your family members that be like, nah, I'm good. They just got this independent, I got to do this all by myself, and that's the only way and the best way to do this mentality. We have this disease in the black community. I know where it comes from us not being able to trust nobody, but in these types of situations, functioning alone is pretty much the worst way to survive these situations. We need each other, family. At least those of us that got some sense. Also, one last little nugget, family, and then we're going to wrap this up. Even if your cell phone is working, if it is working and you got cell signal, there's actually an app on at least the Apple Store. It's called a Scanner Radio app. And it's an application that you can use, and you can listen in. You can find your local area, your city or your local area on the app, and you can listen in over your phone to the emergency communication and broadcasts that are going on to help gather more information for yourself. But that's, of course, if your cell systems and things of that nature and internet is still working, but without power, that's not going to be working. But you get the point. It's just an extra little additive. It may be a different type of disaster, so you may have internet working, and in that case you can use an app like this. And actually, I just thought of one more, especially those of you family that live in cities and areas that you've actually relocated to or into these areas, and really for everyone. But you need to go while everything is fine and start download a whole map of your city, and preferably the surrounding 4 or 5 states. Actually, get those whole maps and be able and have those maps where on like your computer or your phone, where you can view them without having to have an internet connection. And you can zoom in, and just like you do with your normal GPS stuff, but you're using the old school maps. Because you may have a need, especially if you got a bug out somewhere in a situation like this, you may have a need to be able to plan your route, which way you need to go. And if the cell phone systems and stuff are down and you don't have a map and you don't live in that area, you don't know your city or area directions real good, you stuck. You just driving. You don't know where you going. So definitely having your whole state and city's maps downloaded. So you actually got those PDFs and you can pull them up. You can blow them up, shrink them. You can do everything you need to do. You know, put a mark on the map to mark where you at, and then you can blow up and shrink and do your own navigation, but you got, for the young people, you got to make sure you know which way is north, south, east, and west. That stuff they try to teach y'all in school that you didn't want to pay attention to. You better know how to do it, right? That's a helpful nugget. Okay, fam, I'm gonna leave it there. I tried to go over a pretty big list of things that would be helpful, especially for someone that's just today. They starting everything today. They finally waking up like, okay, I gotta do stuff. Use this list, go through it, get started prepping with these things. Do your research on some of this stuff. Figure out what's the best option for you, and make sure you have that available. Just that simple. Why? Because here at One Brothas Mind, we focus on providing solutions and the information and facts you need. So again, family, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Turn on all notifications so you get the alerts when we go live and when we upload new content. So y'all let me know what you think on this. If you got some more items, some more options that are really practical, drop them in the comments. My whole point of this broadcast is for it to be a really good information source for us, family, for anybody in particular, but definitely for the Black family. Okay? Again, drop some comments, leave some information that you're aware of that's helpful, and we'll chop it up from there. Okay? And this concludes this broadcast for One Brothas Mind. We thank you for joining us. And as a part of the new Black media, B1 choices are mandatory and being on code is required. But never fear, Yeshua the Christ is with you always. Shalom.